When you come to Kvarner, treat yourself to an experience you will remember. Enjoy the luxurious ambience. Experience superior service. Indulge in endless pleasures. The pearl of the tourism offer in the pearl of the Adriatic. Liburnia, Hotels and Villas.
It's Sunday at the American Festival of Rome. We're already over 30 degrees Celsius at just gone 10 a.m. this morning at the Autodromo Vallelunga, where we are about to go racing with the EuroNASCAR 2 category for the second time this weekend. Yesterday evening, it was an emotionally charged victory for Alberto Nasca here at Vallelunga. Celebrations abound for the Italian audience as well as the Italian superstar. Really quite an amazing podium scene that we had yesterday. And as you can see, the spectator banks, the grandstands already full to capacity. So we are firmly looking forward to an even busier, even more festival-like atmosphere on this day here at the circuit. Coming out of the Saturday race, it is still, of course, Vladimiros Tsiotsis who leads the championship on 193 points. However, Alberto Nasca just 14 back now from the speedy Cypriot driver. So that means that finally managing to beat Tsiotsis this year, Alberto Nasca, and bringing himself back into the championship contention as well. There you see the standings in full. Paul Giffro third in the standings, Gil Linster in fourth, and Thomas Dombrovski in fifth position. Dombrovski also the leader in the rookie points and the Legend Trophy points leader. Claudio Remeggio Capelli is there in sixth. 56 back, as is Martin Dubek. And a word to Patrick Schauber as well, who sits there eighth in the standings. Schauber had to start from the pit lane yesterday. He was meant to start from the third row of the grid, but rather miraculously moved himself all the way up into fifth position from a pit lane start, which was super impressive. Of course, Ariana Casoli leading the Lady Trophy points as well. So we will see 15 laps of racing from the NASCAR GP of Italy here for the EuroNASCAR 2 drivers. You see the marshals already out there ready to welcome the cars onto the circuit once they are released from the garages. It looks like we are getting some red, white and green paneling for everybody in the grandstand. I think maybe plotting some lovely photos here, which would be awesome. Has very much been a festival atmosphere this weekend. The American Festival of Rome, an event that's becoming more and more established as a significant part of the calendar. You see the local representation for their heroes. Gianmarco Ercoli, otherwise known as Jimmy Jet. He has a lot of support here as well, of course, for the number 54 Cal Racing crew. Yesterday went about as well as it possibly could. A victory for Gianmarco Ercoli in the first race in EuroNASCAR Pro, and then just a few hours later, that effort was matched by Alberto Nasca in EuroNASCAR 2. Of course, we started the weekend on Thursday with a visit to the nearby town of Campagnano di Roma, and a wonderful sight seeing the stock cars down in the piazza and up close and personal with the fans. It was a great opportunity for the fans to get close to the cars and indeed the drivers. We're getting a look at that now, and it really was a unique sight to see our NASCAR machinery up in the town. Thomas Tuffel was pretty happy with the situation, evidently. It was a great evening, a great opportunity for our cars and our stars, and just another of the many types of fan integration that take place across EuroNASCAR weekend. You'll see the fans in their droves heading out onto the circuit along with the cars. There is Vladimiros Tsiortsis's car heading out of pit lane. Tsiortsis will have a bee in his bonnet, I think, after yesterday's racing. Not only did he lose his streak, his 100% record of race victories in EuroNASCAR 2, which had withstood the Valencia and Brands hatch rounds, but also he really just got bullied about a bit yesterday. He was constantly being just tapped out of the way to lose a position or two. It was very physical at times yesterday, and whenever it was physical, it seemed to go against Vladimiros Tsiortsis. So I think he is going to race today with purpose and with a bee in his bonnet. So we'll see what Alberto Nasca can do in this second race. Certainly yesterday he was a class above. Cars heading out onto the circuit. The command will be given in just over a dozen minutes, but the thunder of EuroNASCAR heard around Vallelunga for the first time today as the cars head out onto the circuit. There is the 88 car heading out onto the track. Benedetti, he'll be looking for a better run of form than he had in yesterday's race. Didn't really go to plan, it must be said. Some incidents that Benedetti was involved in. Max Lanza also didn't have the best of runs yesterday as well, so the 88 Cal Racing crew will be looking for a better rub of the rabbit's foot. There's the other Cal Racing entry, the 56 car, shared between Mark Goossens in EuroNASCAR Pro. And in this race, the EuroNASCAR 2 race, Sven van Leer is at the helm. The great and good of the EuroNASCAR paddock then heading towards the grid. And some of them aware that they are on camera. Always amazing, especially when you've got the longer countdown to command in EuroNASCAR Pro. It's amazing how quickly the front straight goes from looking like a racing circuit to let's say a very gentlemanly mosh pit. There are literally thousands of people who spill onto the track to see the cars and the drivers just before the racing begins in earnest. It really is something quite spectacular. Cars heading through the S's now, so we're going to see them on to the grid very shortly. The circuit that they're taking to is the Autodromo Vallelunga, which is, like many of our circuits, around 4 kilometers in length, closer to 4.1, just under 2.6 miles if you prefer. Plenty of exciting corners. Turn 2, Curva Grande, always spectacular on the first lap, watching everyone try and go too wide through there. Turns 4 and 5. Turn 4 is a big braking zone, of course. There's a lot of runoff there that we've seen them use quite a lot. Campagnano Turn 7 is another potential opportunity on both the inside and the outside lines. And then you've got that final section as well. There is literally a short oval built in the final sector. It's a short oval with a hairpin in the middle, the final sector of the lap, which certainly makes things interesting. Under 10 minutes then until the engines are fired for the second day of the American Festival of Rome. And not just in the grandstand, but also in the paddock side. The fans are absolutely everywhere. It doesn't look like there's a room for a single extra soul in either the standing areas or the grandstands this morning. Alberto Nasca is a big part of what brings these people here today. Certainly he's got so much support across Europe, particularly in his home country, for his content on YouTube, Instagram and other social media platforms. But of course, in general, the EuroNASCAR product is becoming more and more popular year on year. firmly installed as a fixture in European motorsport now. Also a fixture in European motorsport, Andre Viegold. Let's go down to him.
Thank you so much, Adam. I'm here now with Paul Giffreau, starting from the second position in the EuroNASCAR 2 race. You have Alberto NASCAR next to you. What is your plan to beat him today?
To take the first position at the start. It will be the plan. We saw yesterday that when you're first, this is hard to be attacked by the second, and we will see. We made some adjustments on the setup because yesterday we saw our weakness, and we will be stronger.
Yesterday, Gilinsta pushed Alberto NASCAR to the front. Now you have Gilinsta behind you. Do you hope for the push as well?
We can expect that to have a good start. Firstly, I will try to have a good start. Yeah, okay. If I have a push, it's better, but I will focus on myself to get a good start.
All right, thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. Good luck.
Thank you.
Back to you, Adam.
I think that push is going to depend on whether Alberto NASCAR actually bought Jill Linster 10 beers last night, as was the promise that Alberto NASCAR made after that race win. He had an emotionally charged interview. Even if you missed the whole race, I obviously recommend you go back and watch the race from yesterday, but even if you only have time to watch 5 minutes of content, go back and watch the victory lane and the podium with Alberto NASCAR from Saturday. He was amazingly excited, and we'll go down now to the 54 car. Andre.
So this time Gilinsta is behind Paul Giffreau, and maybe he can push him in front. What do you want to do to keep the lead?
I will do the Curvone flat out, and let's see what happened. I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's the strategy. Do it flat like I did yesterday.
What do you think about this festival? I see a lot of people already at the grandstands. I saw a picture, people lining up to get to the track to see you race.
Wow, that's amazing. It's cool to see so many people here in Italy. It's just really wonderful.
All right, thank you so much. Grazie mille. Good luck.
Grazie, ciao ragazzi, ciao a tutti, anche che mi seguite. Bye bye.
All right, back to you, Adam.
Excellent. So Alberto NASCAR lapping in the home fan support. And you can see the green, white, red, and I think some blue panels as well being raised up by the fans. That's an awesome sight, isn't it? Here's the anthem. just like that, you remember exactly where we are. This is Italia, and so far here at Vallelunga, we have seen Italian victories in every race, and we'll see whether that continues here today in this one. And we are going to try and get at least one more interview before the command is given. It looked like we might, but we'll wait to go down there potentially. Of course, we'll have the command momentarily. Let's go down to Andre.
Thank you so much. I'm here with Giulinta. Just one question. Alberto NASCAR yesterday thanked you a lot for the push, but now you can return the favor to Podium.
Yes, that's right. I think today I will keep them a little closer together. That can be a benefit for me.
So the plan is to just pass both?
That's actually a good plan, yeah.
All right, we have to rush now to the command. Thank you so much. Good luck.
Old Schifro there getting some tips from driver coach Andre Vigold, the only driver coach who is allowed by law to wear a 1 foot tall hat. 1 minute and 10 minutes until 1 minute and 10 seconds, I should say, till the countdown to command, which will be given by our Grand Marshal for this race, Francesco Cassioli from the Autodromo di Vallelunga. And he will get the honour of telling the drivers to start their engines. And we will soon hear the roar of the motors just before we go racing. Once the engines are on, the formation lap will promptly begin. We'll talk you through the grid and get ready for the racing action. Certainly some interesting stories coming into this one. Paul Giuffreau, of course, for the first time running both in the EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2. But let's go down to the command.
Drivers, start your engines!
There you go, the command is given. I think Francesco Cassioli was there, but he was also joined by a couple of backups as well from the Vallelunga organisation. The Vallelunga Barbershop Trio giving us the command, and we will soon begin the formation lap here at the Autodromo Vallelunga. Delivered us some fabulous racing on Saturday, and no reason at all to believe that will change here on the Sunday. It is Alberto NASCAR who's there on the pole position. Unfortunately, I can see that we do appear to be missing a car. It looks as though Melvin de Groot's 69 machine is not there on the starting grid. Hopefully everyone else is present, but there's a notable gap there between Patrick Schauber on row 3. Great to see that he's there, by the way. And the number 18 car of Claudio Remeggio Capelli. So we are missing one of the fourth row starters in the form of Melvin de Groot. Perhaps Melvin can join the race from a pit lane start. We'll have to wait and see whether that is the case. The field is rolling for the first time on Sunday then, and it's Alberto NASCAR starting the number 54 car from pole position alongside the man who's doubling up for the first time today, Paul Giuffreau in EuroNASCAR 2 on the first row. He'll be on pole in EuroNASCAR Pro later. Vladimiros Siortsis is on row 2 alongside Jill Linster. Linster who'll be looking to try and make up some places in the early going. Patrick Schauber finally getting to start in 5th position. What can the young Austrian do from there? Thomas Dombrowski in 6th position. 7th place is meant to be Melvin de Groot, but he doesn't appear to be there. 8th position for Thomas Toffel, who will be looking for a better run of fortune than he had yesterday. He was spun around yesterday at turn 7. Claudio Remeggio Capelli in 9th, and the 2021 EuroNASCAR 2 champion Martin Dubek rounding out our top 10. From there, row 6 of the grid is the 38 of Balestrieri alongside Nick Schneider in the 46. Row 7, Mikael Blekemolen alongside Paolo Valeri in the number 8. The number 40 of Securo, the Speedhouse entry, should be alongside Max Mason on row 8. Max Mason in the number 1 car. Nicholas Strickler on row 9 alongside Sven van Leer. Panagiotis in number 9, in number 4 I should say, should be alongside the Uber Modern Racing number 75 car of Beck. Ariana Casoli in row 11 in the 14 alongside Eric Quintal in the 64. Roberto Benedetti in the 88 alongside Marzi in the number 9. Jack Davidson in the 48 car. He'll be starting from 25th and looking for a decent run today, which he didn't really manage to get yesterday. And Riccardo Romagnoli is due to take the start from the rear. We see there that Melvin de Groot is on the grid, but he's on the grid right at the back. So it appears that Melvin will take the start, but he'll do so from the rear. That is going to be a kick in the teeth for the Dutchman, but we know he's quick. I'm sure he's going to make up a lot of places. Suddenly, we have a favourite for most positions gained. We get bonus points for that in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. But I'm sure he'd much rather be up there on the 4th row of the grid. So then, 26 cars are rolling through the final corners here at the Autodromo di Vallelunga. In just a few moments' time, the cork will come unglued and we will go racing for 15 laps around this circuit. Going to see some brilliant racing, I'm sure, out of these drivers. The EuroNASCAR 2 race yesterday was commanded and controlled by Alberto Nasca. Can he do it again here at the Autodromo Vallelunga? We will find out now. He is on the inside. Paul Giffreau is to his left. Jill Linster is behind Giffreau. Vladimiros Siortsis is there in 3rd place behind Alberto Nasca. The lights go green and it looks like a marginally better start for Paul Giffreau. He's got the outside line as they approach Curva Grande for the first time. It's still side by side as they go through the corner. Nasca said he was going to go flat through Curva Grande. Has that come to pass? Well, maybe not, because Paul Giffreau is still there on his outside. He's got a nose ahead. Will it be the Frenchman leading into turn 4? Well, yes, but Alberto Nasca is still there on the inside, and I think Nasca is just about going to be in control. Oh, and a collision for Capelli, and so fell further back in the order, sends everyone else skittling, and that is a major incident. Several cars collected there, coming out of turn 5 and into turn 6. Max Mason, unfortunately Melvin de Groot as well. There you see Claudio Remeggio Capelli, the number 38 car, was in the gravel as well. That's, of course, Cesar Balestrieri, who's had absolutely no luck this weekend. But several cars off circuit. I believe we've just gone to full course yellow. Paul Giffreau, though, is the leader. Giffreau has come out of that situation as the race leader. We just saw that on screen. So the number 3 RDV competition car is the leader, but a lot was going on there. There was a collision at the apex of turn 5 between Claudio Remeggio Capelli and Thomas Toffel. There we see it, and that triggered the incident that followed. Toffel spinning across the pack. Dubek did very well to stay out of trouble. And lots of other cars either involved in near misses or being collected in the ensuing chaos. Certainly not the race that Melvin de Groot will have wanted. Max Mason out of the car too. I think everyone should be okay, but there is no shortage of gravel, no shortage of bodywork all over the circuit. Balestrieri, I see, went into the barriers. He didn't actually make contact with anyone. He just trying to avoid the situation. But you can see that he has hit the barrier. So Cesar Balestrieri also going no further. Ironically, one of the drivers that was actually involved in the initial impact, Claudio Remeggio Capelli, he's continued on unconcerned with any damage. But just about everyone else involved, I think, has retired from the race here. Well, we're on lap 2 of 15, and we are under full course yellow, which I'm sure will turn to a safety car before long. Paul Giffreau has crossed the line as our leader. There you see how many cars are there. 6 cars, I make that. Thomas Teffel's car is there, the yellow car at the front of shot. The number 40 Speedhouse car is there as well, so Securo going no further. And after this spin, I mean, it was really an unenviable position for everybody. Look at the air that Max Mason got. Max Mason really went flying as he collected the 34 of Thomas Teffel. As you can see, they're having to avoid a lot of bodywork as they go through the scene of that incident. There is Claudio Remigio Capelli, still running, down in 19th place. Certainly not the start to this race that the fans or the drivers would have wanted at large. However, for Paul Giffreau, this is ideal. He managed to hold on around the outside at Curva Grande and also through 4 and 5. He is our race leader. Alberto Nasca will be alongside him when we go back to full green flag conditions, assuming we go to a safety car, which I expect that we will. And it does seem that that outside line around Curva Grande is somewhat favoured. You can carry more speed as the driver on the outside of Curva Grande in a side-by-side situation. The camber works in your favour. So potentially NASCAR could fire right back at Giffreau. See that the safety car was still in the pit lane, so we're still operating under full course yellow conditions at the moment. The Lamborghini Urus yet to be fired into life. Just taking stock of this shot of how many cars are damaged. It seems as though most of those that managed to avoid, or most of those that managed to keep going, don't have any damage. But of course the tail of the tape is in the 6 cars that went no further. It is a pinch point, the exit of turn 5, because you obviously have to be aware of the little kink to the left that is turn 6 immediately thereafter. But really, the incident occurred before that, of course, because it was on the apex of turn 5 where Capelli and Teffel made contact. It's lap 3 of the race. And we should see action again. I'd say give it maybe 2 more laps while all of the cars are recovered. And I see that, let's call it a Lazio wave, given the region we're in. Fans certainly enjoying the American Festival of Rome so far. As you saw at the top of the broadcast, we're already operating at conditions of over 30 degrees. Some hilarious photos from yesterday emerged on Instagram. Martin Dubeck, Liam Hazemans and quite a few of the other drivers all taking to little kiddie swimming pools in the paddock to try and cool down after these races. Over 55 degrees Celsius reached in the cockpit. You heard Alberto Nasca say the pedals reaching 100 degrees Celsius, which as he said, we might stick some chicken down there and see if it cooks, because it doesn't even seem that far from the realms of possibility that it might. So safety car has now been deployed. We'll see the safety car on track this time. This is a good sign that the progress is good. But the safety car has been released behind the leaders, so this might take a little bit of time to sort out. Hopefully the safety car can surge back past Dufro and co. And indeed, Dufro stacking the field up, so we should get the safety car into the lead of the field. There it goes. It's always a favourite feature of mine when flying through Bologna Airport, the fact that Lamborghinis are used as the airfield vehicles around the Bologna Airport. Of course, Bologna, the home of the Lamborghini brand, and there's often a Huracan going back and forth inspecting the runway at Bologna Airport. I use a few of the Lamborghini Uruses as well, and that's what we're using as our safety car on this day. And of course, one thing we should note regarding the incident that caused this delay, the 18 and the 34 cars both call the Race Art Technology Garage home. So the massive incident was caused by a pair of teammates colliding, and I'm sure that is not going to be a positive dinner table conversation later on. Here's a replay at the start then. Look at Alberto Nasca, he was sideways coming out of turn 5 as well, but the collision happened further back between Tafel and Claudio Remeggio Capelli. And from there, it all descended into chaos. Of course, these cars are, by and large, used in both EuroNASCAR 2 and EuroNASCAR Pro. So that could be a story as well. They're going to have to work hard to get the cars ready for more racing later on. For the likes of Thomas Toffel, of course, he's racing EuroNASCAR Pro as well. So really the only person he lets down if he can't take the start later is himself, but others have other teammates in EuroNASCAR Pro, and they'll be hoping that they don't let their teammate down. Safety car continues to run then, with Paul Giffreau in the lead of the race. We'll cross the line, start lap 5 this time. We'll be at 1/3 race distance at the end of lap 5. Hopefully, we can get the racing back underway this time through. It looked like they had maybe 2 more cars to collect a lap ago at turn 5, turn 6. Of course, Paul Giffreau is one of those drivers competing now across EuroNASCAR 2 and EuroNASCAR Pro. He's inherited the number 3 RDV competition entry in EuroNASCAR Pro from Frédéric Gabillon, one of the most experienced, or the most experienced driver in the EuroNASCAR paddock. Frédéric Gabillon taking a step back and is coaching his young French protege for the remainder of this season. We may see Frédéric back one day, but for this season, taking a step back. Let's see how many cars are there at turn 6, 7 now, if we can. If we can get that wide shot back, we can get a look at whether we're likely to go back to racing this time. Well, we're not going to see it, but hopefully the scene is much less cluttered. We might get a look as they go through turn 8 and see quite how much debris is remaining from the collision on lap number 1. As our cameraman pans left, let's take a look to the backdrop. How much is left of the incident To me, that looks like a clear track. Oh, well, actually, no. There are still a couple of cars there against the barriers to the extreme right of the incident. So I think we might have one more lap. They might be waiting for a flatbed or something of that nature. Getting word that the race restart will be single file, and it looks to me like the lights out are on the safety car. So we are going back to racing conditions. Restart this lap and it will be single file. Okay, so we are going back to racing and a single file start. So Alberto NASCAR, I think, will be disappointed that he's not getting the opportunity to go alongside Paul Giffreau. But can NASCAR try and challenge Giffreau? If NASCAR is quicker to react to the lights, he'll still potentially be able to draw alongside Paul Giffreau for Curva Grande. Let's see what happens. Giffreau controls the field then as we go to the 1/3 distance mark in the race. We begin lap 6, and we begin lap 6 with a return to green flag racing. Giffreau with a good start there. Alberto NASCAR, though, under pressure from Vladimir Ostiortis. Everyone fans out as they go through Curva Grande. Looks like NASCAR carries the most speed. Can he get close enough to Paul Giffreau for turn 4, turn 5? Doesn't look like he's quite able to do so. Side-by-side action further back, Patrick Schauber and Martin Dubeck. Patrick Schauber's lost a few positions from his initial starting place of 5th. Everyone cleanly through the first sector of the lap this time. Ooh, it looks like it's getting a bit too close for comfort, though, in the battle for 4th place. Linster and Dombrovski getting close. I think that was Dombrovski late on the brakes. Closing into the back of Jill Linster as Patrick Schauber looks to try and go around the outside of Martin Dubeck. Dubeck, who's inherited a few positions from his starting place of 10th. He's up to 6th place. Patrick Schauber down to 7th. We are back to green flag conditions. You see there the multiple lines taken at the hairpin. Patrick Schauber trying to get the power down and get alongside Martin Dubeck, but it wasn't to be on that occasion. It's Paul Giffreau who leads them as they come across the line to complete the first proper racing lap. Alberto NASCAR is there in second, and Vladimir Ostiortis is putting him under pressure. NASCAR there on the gravel momentarily, did well to hold that slide. Through Curva Grande they go. It's a proper white knuckle ride through that second corner of the lap. I think whether it's just about flat or whether you have to take a lift is down to how fresh your tyres are and how brave you're feeling. See that there's still a lot of displaced gravel there on the curbing out of turn 5. Patrick Schauber looks to the outside of Martin Dubeck. He's later on the brakes. Can he carry the speed around the outside? No, don't think he's quite going to achieve it this time. What about a lunge into turn 8? We've seen a few of them. Not quite able to make the move on that occasion. Jill Lindstone in 4th place, appears to be falling back slightly from the rear of Stiortis. So we've got another car in the gravel, the number 4 of Pangiotis. Now that was just coming out of turn 5, and that was right next to the circuit itself. So I just wonder whether this is going to cause another delay, another pause in the racing action. We'll have to wait and see. You can see yellow flags. Yes, it looks like we might be back to a full course yellow. So the racing is halted again as we go on to lap 8 of the race. Panayotis is trying to move the car, but all he's really succeeding in doing is digging, or maybe not. He's got the car rolling. If he could just engage reverse and slowly roll back, he might be able to extract himself. Here comes the leading set of cars coasting towards turns 4 and 5. Now is Panayotis still there? I think he was just to the left of the shot still. But hopefully we'll see in a second whether the car is still there. That's the most important thing here. Ah, no, that is still very dug in, unfortunately. And there's a lot of gravel down there as well on the racing line. Thought that maybe Panayotis, see from this side, it looks like Panayotis has done a stunning job and got himself free. But when you see the car from the right wheel side, you realise that no, it's still very dug in. Safety car heads out onto the circuit, so the safety car will pick up the drivers when they come through the main straight once again. All of this, of course, plays into the hands of Paul Giffreau. Once we went back to green flag conditions, it did look as though the Frenchman had a handle on it anyway. But that is only strengthened if there are lengthy periods of time when no one is trying to overtake him. So the recovery vehicle in the back of shot has arrived with Panayotis, so hopefully this will be a short safety car intervention. Maybe even just one lap. Of course, a lot to fight for in the EuroNASCAR races on the Sunday as well. TJ titanium jewelry is offered to winning drivers, the fastest drivers on each category, and that is always a point of interest. The bottles of Panu from the Guerra family as well. And then, of course, there are the trophies and the all-important championship points. One thing this will do as well is it will help the drivers who maybe used a bit more of their tyre on Saturday. A reminder, if you're new to the EuroNASCAR format, the same set of Hoosier tyres takes the competitors through qualifying and both races. So the fact that this race is being largely run at an idle so far will mean that those who maybe slightly cooked their tyres yesterday have less to worry about on Sunday. So the 54 car of Alberto Nasca will be the one that a lot of fans are cheering on. Will Nasca get the opportunity to challenge Giffreau before the end of this race? Of course, we run the overtime format here in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Much like the US categories, so we are almost guaranteed green flag finishes unless circumstances dictate otherwise. Restart will be single file again, according to the NASCAR bulletin board. I believe that might be in reference to this lap as well, but let's just see, because the lights are still on the safety car. Keep an eye on the top of the Urus. Will those lights go out? Our graphics say safety car in this lap, but the lights are still on. typically the lights turn off if the safety car is coming in, and we haven't seen that yet. We really need to keep an eye on the Lamborghini. Still no sign of those lights turning off. So I think restart, well, it says restart this lap single file, but no restart this lap. That's just been confirmed. So restart is single file, but restart is not happening now. So the lights are still on. The lights on the Lamborghini Urus will stay ablaze, I think, potentially for just one more lap. Of course, I think they've already removed the Panagiotis car, but there was also a lot of gravel sprayed onto the circuit from that number 4, so a few diligent marshals have probably been sent out with brooms. Just want to make sure that the racing surface is optimal. Of course, we've already had one incident there on the exit of turn 5, so the last thing you want to do is leave it in a condition where things will happen again. Looks like everything has been cleared. Safety car is declared in this lap, so they will indeed go racing again at the end of this lap number 10. Single file restart once more. No chances being taken by the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series officials. I think this is largely in response to the fact that there is a EuroNASCAR Pro race to come as well. The last thing you want is a plethora of missing entries because of damaged cars. We've already got 6 of them sat on the sidelines, which will need to be hurriedly repaired. So I think probably some heads-up decision-making here from the powers that be at EuroNASCAR. It's a very difficult run, 2x2, through the first few corners of this lap. And there's still racing to come today for all of these teams. So we'll begin lap 11 with yet another restart. The lights are out. So we began the race, immediately went safety car. At the completion of 1/3 race distance at the end of lap 5, we went back to green flag conditions. And now, as we approach 2/3 race distance, we will once again return to green flag with Paul Giffreau as our race leader. Alberto Nasca there in second. Vladimiros Tsiotsis in 3rd place. 4th position for Jill Linster. Thomas Dombrowski 5th, Martin Dubek 6th, Patrick Schauber in 7th ahead of Nick Schneider, Mikael Blekemolen and Paolo Valeri, your top 10. It's Giffreau, the Frenchman, who leads the way. He led his first laps in EuroNASCAR at Brands Hatch a month ago. Can he take his first win here today? He's got Alberto Nasca and Vladimiros Tsiotsis, the 2 drivers that have taken race victories so far in EuroNASCAR 2, welded to his bumper. The lights will go out and the racing will begin. And it's a good start from Giffreau. Martin Dubek got a good launch from further back in the pack as well. Everybody fans out towards Curva Grande. No positions changing immediately. Jill Linster looking to the outside there of Vladimiros Tsiotsis. Tsiotsis slightly later on the brakes. He retains 3rd position. Just about everybody towards the front of the order retaining the places in which they started. Alberto Nasca with fresher tyres underneath him than expected with these safety cars. I reckon he's going to push now. Just saw Tsiotsis having a look to the inside of Alberto Nasca. It was interesting yesterday in the post-race interview. Oh, we got a car off. Car's scuttling across the grass. And that looks like a major impact for Nicholas Strickler in the 94. Major impact. as Paul Giffreau continues to lead the field. I suspect green flag conditions will be short-lived. Giffreau, NASCAR, CEST, your top three. Gap back to Jill Linster in fourth. Keeping on marshal posts here to see whether we go to full course yellow, and sure enough, there are yellow flags flying there. Full course yellow once again, understandably so. That looked like a big one. And thankfully, Nicholas Strickler is out of his car, but look at that damage. He must have hit a barrier somewhere and potentially been collected, because that is not a small incident. I wonder if he even rolled the thing, but the good news is that he is out of the car. Testament once again to the strength of these Team FJ built EuroNASCAR chassis that we are seeing Strickler out of the car. Whether that was caught on camera, I don't know, but the scene of the incident, quite spectacular. Lap 12 of the race, and once again we are under full course yellow conditions. This has been a very much disrupted race. Full course yellow and safety car has taken up the majority of the day's running. And all for incidents between turn 5 and turn 7. Now keep an eye on the barriers here on the approach to turn 7. Has there been... Yes, look, you can see there's some damage to the barrier. So I suspect that Strickler went into the barriers, because you could see a little bit of an indent into the arm coat. Looked like the barrier had actually held up quite well, but evidently Strickler had a major impact, potentially with other cars, definitely with a wall somewhere. Nothing short of relieved that Strickler managed to get out of that car as promptly as he did. Giffreau, NASCAR, CEST, Linster have been your top four for an overwhelming majority of this race, and there's been very few opportunities for anyone to try and fall or get through, fell those giants. Safety car has been deployed. I think it shouldn't be the longest safety car period. There is the 94 car again. Strickler walking there with the marshal. Seems to be walking fairly freely as well, but there is not a clean angle of that 94 car available for our cameraman. That thing looks like it's been through the ringer, because it has. That, of course, is the car that Alina Leubnegger is due to drive in EuroNASCAR Pro. Unfortunately, I think her chances of taking the start have gone down drastically. A huge shame for Alina if that is the case, because she managed to finish on the podium in the Challenger Trophy element of EuroNASCAR Pro. She had a really good run in yesterday's race here at Vallelunga. It's going to be quite the effort from Racing Fuel to try and get that car back out there. I think it might be a bridge too far. Interesting bulletin on our board. Incident between cars number 9 and number 94 under investigation. Now, the 94 is Nicholas Strickler. The number 9 is Valerio Marzi in the number 9 Victor Motorsport Chevrolet Camaro. So that would suggest that we know whom the other half of that incident was. So Giuffreau and NASCAR will be keeping their eyes on the top of the Lamborghini. We've received no notification of a safety car restart, and that is because, as has just been confirmed in the bulletin board, the race will end under safety car procedure. Whether that means we get an early checkered flag or whether we will see out the full 15 laps is not clear, but this race is going to end under safety car conditions. So it sounds like we're going to complete the race distance. It says last lap the safety car will enter pit lane. All cars to stay under safety car procedure to cross the start-finish line. So there will be no overtaking at the end of the race, but safety car will lead the cars home to the finish. A black flag has been presented to Marzi in the number 9 car. There is the visual confirmation. So Valerio Marzi has been judged to be at fault for the incident and is being fairly harshly reprimanded for it, and one can imagine what happened there. So it's probably quite a sensible choice, or quite a prudent choice. That black flag, certainly Nicholas Strickler will feel aggrieved with how his race has ended. It's lap 14 of the race. And they will drive home under safety car conditions. Usually everything is done to try and get the fans a green flag finish in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. However, it seems that the EuroNASCAR 2 grid have woken up a little bit too energized today. And an overtime finish would potentially risk damage to cars and further incident. So I think a wise decision taken by the organisers here. An unfortunate end, certainly. It's not the circumstances that we want to see these races run under. It's probably not the circumstance that Paul Giuffreau wants to win his first race under. But to be honest, once the big trophy arrives at his mantelpiece at home, I don't think he'll mind too much. I believe we might see the checkered this time. In fact, no, we are going to see out the full 15 laps by the looks of it. There was something on the bulletin board saying final lap, but I think that might apply to next time by, but let's see. No checkered flag, so they go on to the final lap of the race under the safety car then. So Paul Giuffreau, it's a cruise home to a first victory in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series on a day where he has a golden opportunity to fight for a victory in EuroNASCAR Pro as well. Will he be able to do so? I understand, if I'm not mistaken, that Giuffreau will be on pole position for the EuroNASCAR Pro race as well. So there's potential for Giuffreau to challenge for a pro race win in the same day as he should take his first EuroNASCAR 2 race win. He just needs to get the car home to secure that victory now. This will be a big swing in the championship as well in general, because Vladimiros Tsiotsis will lose 6 points to Paul Giuffreau. He'll lose a point as well to NASCAR. But in general, with his finishes today, off the podium yesterday, set to finish third today, Vladimir Osiortsis, for the first time, doesn't look like he's going to run away with the EuroNASCAR 2 championship. After the first 4 races of the season, it very much did look like the speedy Cypriot was going to disappear into the distance. However, with the first win of the season for Alberto Nasca yesterday, he established himself as a certain championship contender. And now, as the race ends under safety car procedure, Paul Giffreau will go through the final corner. He will see the checkered flag and he will establish himself as a championship contender also. The Frenchman for RDV competition takes his inaugural victory in EuroNASCAR 2. Jubilation, I'm sure, for Paul Giffreau. Perhaps not the circumstances he would have wanted to take that victory in, but a victory is a victory, and a full haul of points will be a welcome benefit to his championship campaign. Paul Giffreau is a EuroNASCAR race winner. Alberto Nasca taking second place. Third place for Vladimir Osiortsis. Jill Linster in fourth. Thomas Dombrowski in fifth. Martin Dubek sixth. Patrick Schauber in seventh. Nick Schneider in eighth. Mikael Blekemolen ninth. 10th place for Claudio Remeggio Capelli. Paolo Valeri takes 11th ahead of Jack Davidson. Beck in the 75. Sven Van Leer in the 56. Eric Quintal in the 64, finishing 15th. Ariana Casoli 16th, and last of those on the lead lap in the number 14. And the only other finisher, I believe, Roberto Benedetti in the 88 car. Of course, we lost 6 cars on that first lap alone. Fortunately, there wasn't terribly much in the way of racing in this EuroNASCAR 2 event, but what there was drama. And it's now going to be a race in itself for some of these teams to get the cars ready for the EuroNASCAR Pro Race later today. I'm interested to see quite what the emotions are for Paul Giffreau. He is a racer. I don't think he would have enjoyed a race largely spent at idle pace too much. Certainly wouldn't under normal circumstances, but does an inaugural EuroNASCAR win supersede the desire to do 15 laps at full tilt around Vallelunga? I suspect it will. I think it's going to be a celebration nonetheless for Paul Giffreau and for RDV competition. RDV have very much entrusted their future to Paul Giffreau here. The team certainly a juggernaut in terms of results in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. And with Giffreau also racing in EuroNASCAR Pro, they've taken a gamble on the young Frenchman. And it's a gamble that so far this weekend looks to be paying off. Certainly, at the start of this EuroNASCAR 2 season, in pre-season before we arrived at Valencia, I don't think anyone would have thought that Paul Giffreau would be in EuroNASCAR Pro, much less that he could be in contention for podiums. But that is exactly what he'll be later on today. For now, though, he's celebrating a victory in EuroNASCAR 2 for the very first time. He had flashes of promise last year in EuroNASCAR 2, switched to RDV, and has clearly taken a step forward. And now, the number 3 car, its occupant, comes out, and it is joy for Paul Giffreau, taking his first EuroNASCAR 2 victory. Paul Giffreau will take off his helmet. And we'll hear from him with Andre Viegold shortly. I imagine even though the race was largely run under safety car, he's still going to be hot and sweaty because that cockpit will have still been cooking as he lapped around Vallelunga circuit. Lots of body language. See, that's a happy man. Back in victory lane for our EV competition. That is big news in the world of EuroNASCAR. I believe we will hear from Dufro shortly as he continues to lap up the plaudits from RDV competition. Of course, this result ends the streak of Italian winners at this year's American Festival of Rome as well. Both wins went to Italian drivers yesterday in the form of Gianmarco Ercoli and Alberto Nasca. Now it's the Frenchman, a different tricolor, that will take to the top step of the podium, with Paul Dufro claiming this historic first EuroNASCAR 2 victory. Even though it's not one of their own, the fans are still there for the podium. Lots of them wanting to get an up-close look at one of their heroes, Alberto Nasca. But I'm sure they'll give a sporting applause and congratulations to Paul Dufro as well. I don't think Alberto will be elated with the race that was, for sure. Of course, he really didn't benefit from the race running so much under yellow flags. For Paul Dufro, it definitely paid off. Regardless, Nasca and Dufro will bring both themselves closer to Vladimiros Tsiortzis in the championship battle with this result. Tsiortzis only finishing third, finishing fourth yesterday. By no means bad results for the Cypriot, but will have come in with greater expectations, I think, after 4 victories in a row in the first 4 events of the season. Was declared the Prince of Brands Hatch last month at the American Speedfest. And Dufro leading his first laps at Brands Hatch in mixed conditions. Certainly not mixed conditions today, sweltering conditions. But the conditions have created a race winner in Paul Dufro. Your junior trophy winner will be the number 66, Thomas Dombrowski. Mikael Blekemolen, I believe, is taking a Legend Trophy win there as well. So success all round. As the fans continue to watch the podium festivities. As you can hear the music blaring, the teams discussing the race that was.
Check.
Hopefully we'll get the opportunity to speak to Dufro in just a few moments. I can see that Andre and cameraman are in situ, so hopefully we will see or hear from our newest EuroNASCAR race winner in just a few moments' time. And sure enough, here is Paul Dufro with Andre, so let's go down to him.
Thank you so much, Adam. It was not the race we wanted to see, a lot of cautions, but in the end, a race win is a race win, and you had your first NASCAR win here today.
Yeah, I've been good at the start, and this cost me the win, so I have to be happy, but in no world I wanted to win like that. I wanted to have a big fight with Alberto. I saw that we had the setup to fight at this race. But yeah, it's like that, so I'm happy for the win, but I just wanted to battle with him because every race we are close, but not for a battle, and this will be the race of the battle, but it's like that. I'm happy. I take good point for the championship, and yeah, good things for the championship.
But now we have to do something together because there's one thing we have to do always after a win. For the first time in your career, here is it, and it needs to be here.
How do you
turn it around? And maybe there's, you see? Yeah, maybe. Ah, there it goes. All right, thank you so much, and back to Adam.
Well, it's a good thing he doesn't apply stickers for a living, because that took a minute, but otherwise brilliant from Paul Giuffreau. As expected, he's not delighted with the way that it went down, but he will smile back on his first EuroNASCAR victory. That much is for certain. And he's getting the opportunity now to lap in some of the fan support, signing autographs and thanking the fans of EuroNASCAR here at Vallelunga. Of course, the American Festival of Rome with lots of racing still to come. There is a EuroNASCAR Pro race, also 2 races for the regular support category, the Euro Legend Trophy, as well as plenty of a national level Italian competition too. And there are the opportunities to interact with the drivers, the opportunity to see some fabulous American motors. And look at how full this area is near the podium. It was definitely at capacity yesterday with Alberto Nasca's podium. Giuffreau, evidently a very popular man at the moment, signing autographs in the Double V Racing and EuroNASCAR merchandise area. There's some business being done, but I'm sure lots of memorabilia sold across the 2 days as well. There are 2 notable style choices that I see throughout the paddock. One of them is Ferrari F1 shirts. The other you see a lot of Valentino Rossi caps. Certainly the Italian motorsport community know what they like, and it's home winners. They haven't got one today in this race, unfortunately. Paul Giuffreau, I think, will be a popular win in the paddock, certainly. I think it's been recognised that he is taking steps forward at quite the rate. Certainly RDV competition recognised that. That's why he's now in his EuroNASCAR Pro entry. Gabillon made the decision himself to step back, and part of that was just being financially conservative, not wanting to continue to spend this season. And now he's taking quite the pride, I think, in Paul Giuffreau's ascendancy, and will continue to guide Giuffreau for the remainder of the season. I'm very interested to see what Paul Giuffreau can do in EuroNASCAR Pro later on as well. He'll be starting from towards the front of the grid. Still more fans coming to the podium. I believe we will get the first of the podium ceremonies underway shortly by the sounds of it. Seems like the stadium announcer is warming them up. And indeed, Vladimiros Tsiotsis is the first onto the podium, a third place finish for the driver who will still be our championship leader. Heading to the next round at Most. Alberto Nasca taking the second step. And here's your race winner, Paul Giffreau, taking the win. A great result for the RDV competition driver. And we'll now get the national anthem of France for EuroNASCAR 2's newest race winner. The RDV competition team singing their hearts out there for Paul Giffreau. Third place trophies will be out first for Vladimiros Tsiotsis, receiving his trophy and his bottle of Panot from the family Guerin. Alberto Nasca second on the podium. He should be happy with his weekend, I think, overall. I think he's disappointed he didn't get the chance to try and take that lead back from Paul Giffreau. But still good points for Nasca. And delight for Paul Giffreau for the first time a EuroNASCAR race winner. A nice big trophy is his reward, and it might not even be the only trophy he holds aloft today. Both he and Vladimiros Tsiotsis, of course, due back on the grid in EuroNASCAR Pro in a couple of hours' time. Imagine the race to repair cars ongoing for some of the teams that were involved in that first lap collision. Great photo opportunity there for our podium finishers as the champagne is now sprayed. Excellent. Oh, and a bit of a self-shower for Vladimiros Tsiotsis. I'm sure the Cypriot driver knows how to manage heat, so educated manoeuvre there. Although that race suit might be a bit sticky for EuroNASCAR Pro later on. We will welcome Tsiotsis back onto the podium momentarily for the leader of the championship presentation. Whelen red windscreen banner, of course, to be presented to him. In spite of not taking a win this weekend, he will still lead the championship by somewhere in the margin of 10 points. In fact, I think just over that, somewhere around 12 or 13. There is the windscreen banner for Vladimiros Tsiotsis. Still the championship leader, still flying the flag of Cyprus high. And his day is not finished yet. Again, I alluded to it earlier. he was rather roughed about by everybody in yesterday's races. I think he'll go into the EuroNASCAR Pro race later on with a chip on the shoulder and the desire to move up through the field. A Legend Trophy will come up onto the podium next. Paolo Valeri in the number 8 car will be on the third step of the Legend Trophy podium for drivers over 40. A good recovery for Claudio Remigio Capelli, who worked his way back through the field after the first lap dramas. He takes the second step of the podium, and that leaves the top step to Mikael Bleekemolen, the now 73-year-old Dutch racing legend, to the top step of the podium once again. An overall top 10 finish as well for the father of Sebastian and Jeroen. Five decades plus of racing and still receiving trophies. Great to see Mikael Bleekemolen back at the wheel and back on the top step once again. He receives the first place trophy and tries to offer a drink as well. Some photos will be taken as the drivers celebrate with the fans. There you go, caps are flying as well. Good job from our drivers there. We'll move on to the Rookie Trophy. Both the Legend and the Rookie Trophy, I think, more about survival in today's race. Jack Davidson will take the third step of the podium for the Marco Stipp Motorsport team. It will be two Marco Stipp cars on the Rookie Trophy podium as well, with Nick Schneider in the 46 taking second. So Davidson, Schneider, Dombrowski. There is Jack Davidson. Davidson, who wanted to take second but has been steered away. Thomas Dombrowski to the top step then for Team Bleekemolen. Nick Schneider there with the Brazilian flag taking the second step, and Jack Davidson for third position. He started from the very back of the grid, did a good job to navigate his way through the drama on the first lap. Second place for Schneider. And victory will go to Thomas Dombrowski once again. Dombrowski, who will extend his lead as well in the Junior Trophy points standings. Has done everything he's needed to do so far this season. Dombrowski, he's kept himself out of trouble. He's consistent. And as that pace grows, I expect Dombrowski to become a fixture in the EuroNASCAR paddock in the future. There is your top three in the Rookie Trophy. One more presentation to come, and that is the Lady Trophy presentation. Ariana Casoli, of course, the only competitor at the moment within EuroNASCAR 2's Lady Trophy. Alina Leubnegger, for example, moving up to EuroNASCAR Pro. And Ariana Casoli taking to the podium at the end of the race. Receiving her bottle of Guerin family Pano. That is our final presentation complete. And that wraps up EuroNASCAR 2 for this weekend. But the main event is still to come. The EuroNASCAR Pro category will be racing in just a couple of hours' time. Make sure you join us at 13:35 Central European Summer Time for round 6 in EuroNASCAR Pro. Can Jimmy Jett's Gianmarco Ercoli make it 4 wins in a row? We'll find out in just a couple of hours. Make sure you join us.
When you come to Kvarner, treat yourself to an experience you will remember. Enjoy the luxurious ambience. Experience superior service. Indulge in endless pleasures. The pearl of the tourism offer in the pearl of the Adriatic. Liburnia, Hotels and Villas.
Hi, Ivan. When are we intending to go live with the Euro Legend Trophy? Because they're racing at 10 past, aren't they? Okay, no worries. Yes, exactly. So when do you want to go live? 12 o'clock? Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Sorry, mate? Yeah. It will be 16 minutes, yeah. Yeah. Sorry, could you turn yourself up a little bit, mate? No, I'd leave it until the cars are like, ready to go for the formation lap, because there's not much to talk about and everything, is there? Okay.